Hello, everyone. In a small village nestled in the mountains of Thailand, there lived a young monk named Phra Kiat. He was an orphan who had been cared for by the monks at the Wat Pa Sak temple since he was a child. At the age of 7, Phra Kiat showed a great interest in the teachings of Buddhism. Filled with enthusiasm, he sought permission to become a novice monk, samanera. Phra Kiat's days were filled with simple tasks: cleaning the meditation hall, preparing offerings for the deities, and serving the senior monks. Although the work was tough for a child, he carried it out without complaint. For him, every task was a way to cultivate patience and humility. What stood out most about Phra Kiat was his discipline in meditation. Every morning before sunrise, he would sit in front of the golden Buddha statue in the main hall. He closed his eyes, took deep breaths, and reflected on the teachings he had learned. His meditations often lasted for hours, even when other children his age were playing outside the temple. One bright morning, after completing his morning meditation, Phra Kiat decided to visit the nearby town market. He had heard of a small bookstore famous for its unique collection of books. As a young monk eager for knowledge, he wanted to find books that could deepen his understanding of life and wisdom. The bookstore was simple, with old wooden shelves filled with various books. Its owner was a friendly and dignified Muslim man named Ibrahim. Ibrahim greeted Phra Kiat politely, welcoming him with a warm smile. "Welcome, Your Holiness. Please feel free to browse around. Is there anything I can help you with?" Ibrahim asked warmly. Phra Kiat nodded and began exploring the bookshelves. He found numerous books on philosophy, spirituality, and religions from various traditions. However, his eyes were drawn to a simple book titled Islam, a way of life. For some reason, his heart felt drawn to it. "May I take a look at this book?" Phra Kiat asked, pointing to it. Ibrahim smiled. "Of course, Your Holiness. That is one of my favorite books. It explains the teachings of Islam in a simple way and how it can guide daily life." Phra Kiat opened a few pages and read the opening lines. "Islam teaches peace, compassion, and justice. It is a way of life that guides humanity to connect with the Creator and live harmoniously with others." The words resonated deeply with Phra Kiat. As a monk, he too was taught to live in peace, spread compassion, and love all living beings. He felt a profound connection between what he had learned and what was described in the book. "Ibrahim," he said softly, "the teachings in this book sound beautiful. Are they the foundation of your way of life as a Muslim?" Ibrahim nodded. "Indeed, Your Holiness. Islam is my way of life, just as Buddhism is yours. Although we come from different traditions, I believe our goals are the same: to seek inner peace and true happiness." Phra Kiat smiled and decided to purchase the book. Impressed by the young monk's interest, Ibrahim said, "If you would like to discuss this book or Islam in general, I am always here. You are a most welcome guest." Returning to the temple, Phra Kiat read the book attentively. He was captivated by the concepts of submission to the Creator, the importance of intention in every action, and the principles of justice and compassion in Islam. In the following days, Phra Kiat frequently visited Ibrahim's bookstore, not just to buy books but also to engage in discussions. Their conversations were filled with mutual respect and warmth. Phra Kiat not only learned about Islam but also realized the importance of opening one's heart to understanding others' beliefs. The relationship between Phra Kiat and Ibrahim became a symbol of interfaith friendship in the small town. Both demonstrated that even though their paths were different, their ultimate goals were the same: to live a life of peace, wisdom, and compassion. One day, Phra Kiat was sitting beneath an old banyan tree in the temple courtyard, studying Islam, a way of life, which he had purchased a few days earlier. He was so absorbed in reading that he barely noticed the approaching footsteps. When he looked up, Ibrahim, the bookstore owner, stood there with a wide smile. "Your Holiness, I'm glad to see you enjoying the book you bought. I have something for you," Ibrahim said. From the bag he carried, Ibrahim took out a set of books, including a Thai-translated Quran, a book on the life of Prophet Muhammad, and a small book titled The Basic Principles of Islam. "I want to offer these to you as a gift. You are someone who seeks the truth, and I respect your sincerity," Ibrahim said. Phra Kiat gratefully accepted the books. "Thank you, Ibrahim. I am touched by your kindness. I will read all of these with my full attention." After expressing his thanks, Phra Kiat brought the books back to the temple. There, he carefully stored them before starting to read. However, one of the young monks, Fathan, noticed the books and became curious. "What are those, Kiat? These books look different from the ones we usually read," Fathan asked. "These are books about Islam," Phra Kiat replied. "I bought one a few days ago, and Ibrahim, the bookstore owner, just gave me these additional ones. The teachings are fascinating, then. They speak of the oneness of God, justice, compassion, and a way of life in harmony with nature." Fathan, along with several other young monks, grew intrigued. They asked for permission to read the books together. That evening, under the soft glow of candlelight, the young monks sat in a circle, listening as Phra Kiat read from the translated Quran and explained the basic principles of Islam he had come to understand. In the following days, their discussions about Islam grew deeper. They read about Prophet Muhammad, learning how he was a messenger of love, peace, and justice. The young monks found many similarities between the teachings of Buddhism and Islam, particularly in the areas of moral values, self-discipline, and control over desires. Their curiosity grew into admiration. They began to feel that the teachings of Islam offered a new understanding of life, complementing what they had learned so far. Finally, one morning, Phra Kiat and four other young monks decided to visit Ibrahim at his bookstore. They asked Ibrahim to take them to someone who could teach them more about Islam. Ibrahim gladly took them to a local ustaz, Islamic scholar. The ustaz explained Islam with great gentleness, answering their questions and giving them time to reflect on their decision. After several days of deep reflection, Phra Kiat and his friends were convinced that they wanted to embrace Islam. In a small mosque in the town, with the guidance of the ustaz and the witness of the congregation, Phra Kiat and the four young monks recited the Shahada, "Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah." I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Their decision shocked the villagers, including the senior monks at the temple. However, Phra Kiat and his friends humbly explained that Islam did not erase all the good they had learned as monks. On the contrary, Islam complemented their spiritual journey, providing them with a new understanding of the Creator and the purpose of life. After embracing Islam, Phra Kiat and his friends lived simply, helping Ibrahim at the bookstore while learning more about Islamic teachings. Their lives became an inspiration to many in the village, demonstrating that the search for true truth can transcend religious and cultural boundaries. Phra Kiat, now known as Hassan, became a wise da'i, preacher. He continued to use his knowledge and experiences as a monk to bridge understanding between Buddhists and Muslims, spreading the message of peace, compassion, and brotherhood among all of humanity.